Good morning, friends. I've got a cup of coffee, and I've got a couple of grandsons staying the night. They're asleep in the living room still. I thought, while they're asleep, maybe we could work a little bit on our journal that we're only using junk. So we have our signature pages, right? Signature for a journal, in case you're new, just means the pages that you're going to use in your journal for writing or collaging or whatever you're going to use your journal for. It's those pages that are just bunched up together, that like a book has pages, and eventually the signature needs to be attached to the spine. I'm going to do this one though with no special tools and no sewing. We'll just need junk and glue, just so that you're aware on that part. So I'm going to set this aside. And this is our hamburger cover, remember? With a built-in spine. And yesterday, we took some packing paper and just crinkled it up and then ran over it with some inks. Now, I want to glue it to this. So here's what I've done. I took two bottles that had teeny tiny bit left, poured it into one bottle, added a little bit of nail polish remover, and I shook it up. That way, we can use the last of our glue, and that nail polish remover, as you kind of let it, mix, it thins down this really thick glue. So what my thought was, is if we glue this to the top, and then this one here, and have a meet in the center at our, the center of our spine, then we can come back later and cover that up. Do you see what I'm saying? What I ended up doing from each one of these is just cutting off a strip because they were so big. And maybe we could use that to cover where it comes in the center. I'm not really sure yet, but those are set aside just in case. So let's get this gluing down. And how are we going to do this? Okay, my thought, this is the right side, that's the back. I'm going to lay that down here. I'm going to take this, I want to see about the middle. Yeah, so I'm going to put glue on this front side first. And because we're not doing any sewing, we do want to make sure our glue gets all the way up to the edges, just so that this stays. We don't want anything coming off. And you could use any glue that you've got. I had a dear sweet friend send me a couple bottles of this, and actually, I came home from Yellowstone, and it was here. So I thought, well, before we open a new one, let's combine all the old ones and use them up. Okay, so we've got glue, and then I'm going to turn it over and just lay it down on here. Now, I'm going to kind of squish and use some pressure to squish that glue out and around everywhere. And I know I've got all this hanging off, right? Well, there's a reason. Let's check and make sure the back is glued on. It is. What we're going to do with that is we're actually going to come here, and we're just going to add some glue. Whoa. All over. And we're going to fold it over. So like this. Okay. I know, I have glue oozing now. We'll just shove that under. Come on. Okay. Give it a minute to just take hold. And then we're going to come down and do this bottom edge here. One side at a time. All right. Let's just set that there because we're going to glue that next. It'll ooze out onto there. And let's fold this over. Get that to start taking hold there. And I'm going to just come back real quick and press this down. All right, now let's glue this side. Okay. And remember, this is the inside cover, but we are going to work with that as well so that you won't see that this has been folded over. Stay, stay, stay. I kind of ripped that. That's okay. Nobody's going to see it. So that's glued down, and now we have that side. And then we want to do the same thing over here. So we will get some glue on all those edges. And a little, you know, in the middle. We want to make sure it stays really well, right? Okay, let's get this lid on the glue. And then we're gonna, that's the right side, so we want to turn it upside down. And then again, we're gonna come and lay this right on top. Oh, stay. And squish. Hey, stay. Squish, squish, squish. That Fabri-Tac glue, it does take a few minutes or a few seconds, you know, to really grab a hold. Now, come back here, and you see this is not quite stuck down. Let's just reinforce it. Oh, yes, I have a dog in the background. I don't know how long this video will last because, you know, the grandkids could wake up too. Duck! Duck, you're dreaming. Her tail went bang, 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 bang. All right, now for this one, let's see what happens if we do this side first. I don't really think that it matters too much what you do first. But if we do that side first, what would happen if we take these corners in first like that? And then the bottom one and just fold it right up there. Okay. And I'm going to smear this glue a little bit. Then fold it over. Yeah, it doesn't make too much a difference as long as you get this folded over so that it sticks. That's the goal. We want it to stay. And then we'll come and do the top and bottom. Not enough glue. I thought I got some. It just takes a minute to take hold. I forgot. Yep. I get impatient. Anybody else get impatient when they're waiting for glue to dry? Oh. Sometimes, you know, I've got patience. But sometimes I don't. And I think what it is I don't want you guys to have to sit and watch glue dry. Oh boy. Let me know in the comments. Have you signed up for the giveaway? If you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to, let's see, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. I put out a video and I showed you some of the things that I got at Yellowstone. And actually, you'll see the title of the video is giveaway. And Enter to win. I love giving things away, and I'm going to give it out a secret. There is, let's see. In the video, I say there's going to be at least 2 winners. Well, guess what? Now I'm going to tell you there's going to be at least 3 winners. There might even be more. We'll have to see. Now, what are we going to do on this side? Well, this is where if you have already taken scraps and made a master board, let's see if I've got one sitting next to me here. Okay. Master board is just gluing down little scraps of paper onto a base. That one was magazine. I wanted to stay with neutrals. These are not neutrals. But what you could do is you could just glue some masterboard down, you know, or maybe you have scrapbook paper that you want to put on there. For me, what I think, since those are not neutral, I have a bag of, oh my gosh, all kinds of scraps. A lot of it is like, this is junk. It was Amazon packaging. I have old sewing pattern paper, you know, just all kinds of random neutral scraps. So I might use that. And I thought maybe what I'll do is I'll just rip up things and glue them down all over here. And I'll do that off camera because it's just doing a collage, you know. Or maybe you've got book pages and they have pretty pictures on them. You could always cut the pictures out and just put the pretty pictures all over. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I'll do yet. But looking at this, now we need to decide, do we want this is the front cover? Or do we want to flip it in? This is the front cover. And I think, for me, I like this one best. So this is going to be my front cover. Now, this wonky here that goes down the spine, I still haven't exactly decided what to do, but if you notice, it's not even centered. So I mean, there's a million things we could do with that. What if we just took this strip and glued it over, and then it's going to come over to the edges here. And then we just fold this in. We could do that. Let's do it. All right. Let's grab this glue. And let's just make sure we get glue all over. And I'm going to really focus on the edges. And it might be a good idea, actually, for me to come in with my finger and spread it around on the edges just to really make sure the edges are done. But nah, let's just see what it does. Oh, goodness. All right, let's just take this, put it as close to center as we can, and really press down. That should squish the glue that's underneath there. We'll pull this down here and squish, and then pull this up and give it a good squishing. Okay, now we can collage on the inside. And that, when you look at it from the front, you do see a little line there, but that's okay. I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. It actually kind of looks like a real book that's been put together. And the back, yeah, not too shabby. All right, so now front cover decorating. Here's what I'm using. I've got these inside of pizza box packaging, you know. And then I pulled out of my junk book page pile, I thought maybe we could use a pretty image. Let's see. Ooh, let's do that one. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna remember that this is the front, and I'm just gonna come here and, rip around the image. I call this fussy ripping instead of fussy cutting. And we'll try not to bust into the petals at all. Oh, I almost did. Now I'm going to keep this just for later. Okay, so we've got this. And then what if we took this sewing paper and put that on there? I think the edges need inked. I'm just going to grab some ground espresso and ink around the edges. Now, you don't have to do any inking. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a little secret. If you don't have any ink, and right now you don't want to spend any money, then guess what? If you're married, go check out your husband's little stash. See if he has any boot polish, or maybe you wear boots and you have boot polish. Use boot polish around the edges. Also, brown eyeshadow around the edges. Yeah, there are options. So we could do like this. This is too wide for that front cover. And it already has color on it. I don't know that I want to use that. Let's try this one. That's a little short. Maybe, okay, let's just rip. I do want to see approximately how long I want this. So let's just rip it right here. Get some out of the way. There we go. And I want to finish ripping down this side. And let's see if, yeah, oh, down like that. Yeah, okay. So I want to make sure it fits. So I think I'm going to rip right here. And then get a little more off right there. Okay. Will that fit onto the front? Yes, it will. And then if we had like this, what I need to do, I think, is rip here. And how long do I want it? Okay, let's just start ripping. Okay, I kind of feel like it needs something, another layer in between there. What if we grab, let's see, just for, you know, color popping. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say. You know, the different lights and darks of colors. Dude, I don't know what my problem is. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say. How about like that? So we could rip this off here. And that one there. And that might help a little. Maybe, what about some of this? Oh, old, that's some really old book page there. It's crumbling. Crumbling. Maybe that one could go there. And what is that? Oh yeah, a friend sent this. Okay, how about some of this? Oh, let's get rid of this right here. What if we put this right like that? Yep. I like that. Okay, so now we have to glue the layers down. So I'm going to take this off, and then this off, and glue these down first. So I think what I'll do, that's the hard part of auditioning things, is then trying to get them to stay where you want them. go. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and tear that real quick because I want to turn it around because I think I want to get different. I want to use the front and then use the back because there's different shades of browns and blacks on that. And then let's give this some glue. And I think it was right about there. And then, oh, come on. We'll give this side glue. As it all starts to try and stick to my fingers. Well, it's going upside down. It's an upside down light bulb. That's okay. And then we had that in the middle, but what's this side? Okay. So I'm just plopping glue on there. And then we're going to go like that. And then, oh yeah, we could put this there. Let's just lift this up and go like that. There we go. And glue on the back of this. But this time, lid. Okay. There we go. Let's get this put out of the way. Okay, now, hey, I've got sticky fingers and everything's sticking to me. If it's like that, and we put it on like that. Now, for me personally, I again think we need some contrast, that's the word, contrast, between this layer and this layer. And we could go with a lighter paper, or what we could do is we could try first seeing if this will be enough, just inking around the edges. Because that sometimes is just enough contrast. So if you don't have any of this Tim Holtz and Ranger Distress Oxide, and you're like, Dawn, if you could only get one, which would you get? I would say Ground Espresso. It's the one I started with. It's my go-to. Why? I don't know. Again, it's the first one I ever got, so maybe that has something to do with it. Oh, okay, yeah. See, I think for a neutral journal, that would work really well. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to glue this puppy down, and we will have our front cover completed with all junk. Yes, we will. Is anybody else making this with me? I'm just curious. And then, are you, if you are making it, are you going to make it as a journal to keep or a journal to give away as a gift? What are you going to do with it? Okay, I think I want it right about there. So mine, I have not decided yet if I'm going to keep it for myself or if it's going to be available in my Ko-fi site to purchase. I just haven't decided. I think there's a few journals in there still for purchase in my shop. I'll put my Ko-fi link down in the description box so you can check that out. But I've had a couple people request journals, so I need to get a few that I've already made put up in my shop, and then maybe this one will go there too. Who knows? We'll see. So I'm taking the time to really make sure this stays. Since it is the top piece to the journal, I don't want it to pop off. You know what I mean? And I really wanted to be able, there we go, to kind of wrinkle that up and have pieces kind of sticking off. So it gave it like a little bit of a 3D. So we're going to set this aside, right? And let it dry, okay? Oh, I like that way more than I thought I would. Anyway, let's let that dry. Now, I've got some of this brown packing paper, and I was thinking maybe what we could do is make our own faux kind of washi tape that we could use as page edge strips. I don't want to cut. I actually want to rip. So let's go ahead and how wide? I don't know. Maybe it's an inch. Maybe it's an inch and a half. They don't have to be exact. We're just going to decorate some page edges with it. So you could even do them different thicknesses. Okay, so now what are we going to do? How are we going to do this, Dawn? Well, I was kind of thinking, let's just start with one. I was kind of thinking if we grab our neutral scraps and maybe we just, I need my glue page thing. And how about what we do is we just start gluing pieces down. And we probably could just use glue stick. Here's a piece. Maybe we'll do 3 of these. There we go. How about right down there? Okay. And then let's go for some book page. Let's see. Yep, my fingers are sticky. And all we're doing is kind of a little bit of a collage. That's it. And you can use stickers and things, you know, that is not junk to do this. But we are attempting, let's do upside down, to only use junk, you know? So I thought, well, let's see what we can do. And just collage this with some junk. All right, we've got those. And let's see, what other, we need yet another color, another something. Here we go, what's this? Yeah, we could do that. Just rip a few pieces of this off. 1, 2, and let's go over here. 3. Yeah. Some glue. Ooh, you know what would be cool? Vellum. Vellum pieces would look really neat on this. And then, oh, you know what else would look really cool? Stamping. Do I have, got a stamp here near me that I don't even know what it is. I hope nobody asks. I don't need my stamping block. Let's just grab our ground espresso. And we'll get some random stamping on here. Yeah, and it's really light. You can't really see it. And then maybe we could grab another stamp. I've got this. Why don't we try using, do I have any black here next to me? I do. And don't ask me where I got these stamps because it was a garage sale. There we go. Maybe a few more. Why not? And there we go. We can use that as page edge strip. And what I'll do is I'll do more off camera. I'll use the same stamps. Let's see, where did I set the other one? So they all kind of are cohesive and it'll be all neutrals. So we'll do the page edge strips off camera. But now, the other thing you can do with these strips, if you have a sewing machine, you could use that. Let me get this out of the way. Turn this blue book page. All right. What you do is you could take it, you know, fold it like this. And can you see? There we go. And you could take it to your sewing machine after you kind of do the accordion folds, right? And just sew down the middle, and you've got paper ruffles. If you do not have a sewing machine, or maybe you and your sewing machine don't get along, then just take some glue and put a little glue in each little fold, just to hold it down. Come on. And then you might want to come to the back and just put a little glue on the inside fold of each one of these. Okay, and press down. Now, let's let that dry for just a second while we put our pin in our glue. And then what do you use that for? Oh, and what if you wanted to make it look sewn? Okay, let me show you what you do. You could use any colored pen. Do I have I've got black. I thought I had a white pen. I do, I have one. It's a white Posca pen. I don't know, I rarely use it. There we go. And just come in down the center like that. And it looks hand sewn, but you haven't had to fight with a sewing machine. And then we have a few options, but like for me, what I was thinking is maybe on one of the edge of our pages, we fold this and we glue it on as a page tab. Let me show you what I mean. Let's use this one. And maybe we'll just do it right up here. And you just glue it down on this side, and you've got a little page turner. Or maybe we could take another scrap. Oh, what's that? Ooh, that's cool. Let's take this. And we could glue it. Ooh, we could staple it. Where's my stapler? Ooh, yeah. Okay, so look. Staple it down the middle. I'll just do 2 spots. Fold it in half like that. And now you have another page tab. I think, you know what? Let's get this one stuck down. Why not? Now, if you don't like the stapled look, use glue. But I think the stapled look is kind of fun. And I actually think I'm going to come in here and make these even darker. And you could use your black, just regular black permanent marker. That would work as well. Might look just as cool. Now, I decided that when I put this in the journal, I actually don't want all these perfect edges. I like the wonky edge look. So what I thought I'd do is just come in and just, you know, rip a little bit so that they're not these straight sides. And it looks like that one needs glued shut because we were going to use that as a pocket. So we'll just come here and glue that one. Now, I'm going to leave this just because I like what it says. But let's say you've got your pages are maybe ugly book pages or something you don't like. Let's see if I can find something. Okay, let's say you don't like that. All right, so let's come in with, let's see, I've got homemade gesso from weeks ago. Let's see if it's still good. I think it kind of needs stirred. Oh, I flicked it everywhere. Okay, anyway, usually your homemade gesso does not last as long as your store-bought. Yeah, see, this is having issues, so you got to really mix it back up. The water kind of separates from it, and because I just flicked that, I now have paint, because we used paint in our homemade gesso. I now have paint all over my shirt. Yeah, see, no. This homemade gesso, no good. We're going to get rid of that. Okay. But where is my real gesso? Oh, my. See, I don't have it next to me, do I? Yes, I do. Okay. Liquitex Acrylic Medium Gesso. Plops. Oh, that's way too much, Dawn. Okay, let's see if we can find here. Here's another Amazon package. All you have to do is take this gesso, plop it on top, rub it around, and you can write on a page that has had gesso on it. So you can put a ton on there and use it as just a fun collage art page later in your journal, or you put a very thin layer on, just enough to dull the book pages or whatever's behind it, and then you have writing space. And here, what I mean is, let's say this was our page that we wanted to use for writing. Just put a real thin layer on there. So that the lettering and all that is not quite so, popping off the page. I'm just trying to use some of this up. It kind of puts it in the background, the lettering and the pictures. It works better if you're not so messy, also. But I used way too much. And if you smooth it out with a paintbrush even, it looks even nicer. And you now can write on this. And when you write on it, obviously when it's dry, you can see your pen, but you can see that there's stuff slightly in the background too. It actually is a really cool effect. But, yeah. I just used too much. Okay, I'm going to be done for for today. I'm going to just leave this here, let it dry, and we'll come back. I'm going to go wash all the paint splatters off my face and my hands. I will see you guys back here soon. Thanks so much for being here.